Hello, everyone. My name is Abbie, and I am going to be the mobile mentor for the, mobile track. If you can hear me, could you just leave a comment right there on YouTube, please? Hello, everyone. Awesome. I see you guys. So welcome to today's office hour. Nice, nice. I love how active you guys are. Okay, like I said, my name is Abbie, and I will be a mobile mentor for the mobile track. Um, awesome. It's so nice to have you guys here on the call. Hope you all are doing great. This is actually going to be a very, very brief call because for now the curriculum for the mobile track has not been published yet, but it will be soon. It's still in the works, trying to make it all perfect for you guys, but it's still in the works. So it's going to be published soon. In the meantime, I would like you guys to know for sure that in the mobile track, we're going to be dealing majorly with Flutter, right? Flutter is going to be the primary framework for the mobile track. So we're not doing native, we're not going Kotlin way, we're not going Swift. It's going to primarily be Flutter, right? Before I go any further, I would like to know if you guys have any questions right now. I mean, I know it's still early, but it's possible that you have some questions on your mind, something you'd like to inquire about the mobile track, maybe to officially seal your decision to be part of the mobile track. So please just leave a question in the comments, and I will try to attend to as many as I can. I'm just going to give a bit of time so you could come up with your questions and send them in the comments. Okay, I see some questions are coming in. I'm just going to take them one at a time. The first question I see here by Nila is, what IDE would we be using? So in the resources that are to come, you're going to be free to use any IDE that you're comfortable with. You could install VS Code, Android Studio, whichever one is okay, or whichever one you feel comfortable with is the one that you'd use. But in the beginning of the curriculum, you'd be expected to use Dartpad just so that you could get you could understand the basics of Dart before we go officially into Flutter. So you'd be using Dartpad in the initial stage, and then before you move on to use IDEs. I hope that answers the question. Daniel says, is there an alternative for Android Studio for Ubuntu? Android Studio is Android Studio is Android Studio. There really is, except if you decide to go the VS Code route. But Android Studio should work on Android Studio should actually work. You're going to get resources that would guide you. In the case where you have a question with your setup, I'll be here to answer your questions. Please, is the mobile track Flutter full-time or part-time? Okay, I'm going to get back to that question. Just give me a minute. Chimobi says, is there any need for Dart? If you're going to be part of the mobile track, there is definitely going to be a need for Dart because Dart is a language that pretty much powers Flutter. Flutter is a framework, and Dart is the language that powers Flutter. You're going to learn more about it as the curriculum unfolds. What softwares do we need to install? You're also going to get that alongside the curriculum. You're going to see all that you'll be required to install. So just hang on there. Okay, I see your question. What is Flutter exactly? I think I already answered that a little bit before. Flutter is a framework that enables that helps us to build the UI part of our mobile applications. So it's what it's the framework that helps us to build the UI of our mobile applications, while Dart is pretty much the language that helps to kind of enable the functionality of your Flutter application. What is Flutter? I'm a total beginner / novice to this. Okay. I'm trying to make things as basic as possible because I do not want to get people confused since you haven't gotten the resources that you need to actually officially get started. So I'm not going to dive so deep into all of these questions. But yeah, like I said already, basically, on the very, very basic level, Flutter is a framework that helps us to build the UI of our mobile applications. I have a question on timing. My Google Calendar has the session set at 11 a.m. and in Kenya, the time is 2 p.m. Which time zone are you in so I can schedule my time? All the different office hours will be in West African time. So please schedule your day for the office hours based on that. Okay. Are we going to learn back-end coding in this, say, REST APIs? When you mean back-end coding, do you mean integrating APIs into our mobile applications? If that's the question, then definitely we're all going to get to that part of the curriculum. But say you're going to handle the backend, that is, write the APIs, you'd only consume and not write them. Someone asked Dartpad. Dartpad is an online editor. It's I'm going to share the link so you could just take a look at what it is. It's an online editor which you could use to casually practice your Dart or Flutter code without having to install APIs. Without having to install an IDE. Oh, someone's talking about state management. Calm down, Joel. Just be patient. We just might not go into the state management route for this cohort, but be rest assured that you're going to be ready to dive into that before the end of the program. If at any point in between that I need to touch on that during one of the office hours, then I would gladly do so. But in the meantime, we're just going to cover the basics that would help everyone to get to a comfortable position where they can, further learn and explore all that Flutter has to offer. Okay, I think I skipped some questions, but says, are we going to learn that also? Of course. Before you could confidently, I personally think, and over time from a lot of people that I've listened to, it's best to have a basic understanding of that before you actually start to write Flutter. It helps a lot if you give yourself that foundation before moving ahead to to Flutter. Yes, there are going to be tasks. There are going to be tasks that you get to do and be graded on. I'm going through the questions to see if I missed any. Um, Someone asked, are we having classes before tasks? So just as was explained before the cohort started and whatnot, every resource, all the resources are going to be available to you to check out. But in between, we're going to have sessions like this where we can cover things in-depthly, where you can ask questions and we can answer. It could be a topic that wasn't so clear. It could be one of the tasks that most people didn't understand that you'd want us to cover. It could be pretty much anything that we could talk about during office hours. So we'd have direct sessions like this alongside the resources that are going to be available to you in the curriculum. Tochi's question, sorry. How long will the program last and what would be the target position level for the finalists? For the latter, you're going to find out as the program unfolds. For the first question, the program is going to span for about 10 weeks. So yes, there's also going to be project phase. If I skipped a question, it would really help if you could copy the question again and paste it so that I could answer, because I'm scrolling up and it's starting to feel like a chore. Yes, I already answered this question. We're definitely going to cover that. It's actually the first before we move on to Flutter, so definitely 100%. If you have direct questions about the cohort, don't worry about it. It's all going to be covered during the onboarding later today. The questions that I should be answering right now are mobile related questions. Any question you have about the track or the framework or the programming language, but for the cohorts, all the questions will be answered during the onboarding. My experience, okay. I have been a mobile developer for going to 3 years now. So let's say I understand. But yeah, I have about 3 years of working experience with Flutter. Okay, as a beginner to this class, what knowledge do we need to gain full understanding in Flutter? Well, the truth is, the idea of the program is to help beginners to go from ground up, to the point where you can confidently learn on your own or grow on your own. So whether or not you have knowledge in Flutter, we're going to be here to guide you along the way through the program. So you pretty much do not need any knowledge as of now to get started with the program. Like, that's what the program is about. So Flutter, to have Flutter installed on your computer, you actually need Yeah, there's a system spec for installing Flutter on your computer. Just give me a minute. Let me quickly get the link so that you could also check for yourself. Just give me a minute. So that's the requirement for having Flutter installed on your for Windows. As for Mac, I'm not sure there is a direct requirement to have Flutter installed on your Mac. For Windows, there's a specific requirement for that. And I think it's the same with Linux. So let me share that as well. So please go through and see if it applies. Or building Android applications or iOS applications. So Flutter is a framework that is compatible for both operating systems, for Android, for iOS. But for you to be able to test your application on iOS, you would need a Mac. So without a Mac, you cannot exactly build for iOS, but whether it's a Mac or Windows or it's whichever it is, you can always use Flutter to build for Android. But iOS requires a Mac. Please note that I'm not sharing my screen. The links that I said I would share, I posted them in the comment section, so you can follow the link and check them out yourself. Hi, Moi. I did share the link. It's in the comments. My name is Abigail Noyelim on YouTube, so you should see the links posted by Abigail Noyelim. So any questions aside not being able to see the link, I just reshared them again, just in case you're not able to catch the ones that were shared before. But aside the question on links, is there any other thing that we haven't covered for this very first call? All right, no, don't stress. I would share them on the LMS so that you could, it's just based, I shared the links based off a question that was asked as to system specifications to have Flutter installed on your computer. So you don't need to stress on it. If it's, I could easily share them on the LMS so you could check it out. Could you explain what you mean by live projects? When you say, are we going to build or design a real life project, what do you mean? Any question that has to do with the cohort will be covered during the onboarding. So I'm not going to answer that as to how many hours you're required to dedicate. Of course, the applications that, I mean, we're going to gradually evolve. So from the basics, we're just going to keep building upwards till you can actually build a fully functional application. So that's pretty much the goal of the curriculum. Hi, Laura. I would not be answering that question. It would most likely be covered during the onboarding. All right, so I see that the remaining questions that are being asked would definitely be answered when the curriculum is shared, because there are a lot of resources that have been made available to help you get started. So I'm just going to refrain from answering those questions. Have I had a frustrating moment on Flutter or programming? Well, of course. Programming is nice. It's interesting to code and you know yeah, it's interesting to develop things, but you definitely have a lot of pain points, times when you just I've had days that I actually cried. I remember in my early days when I started programming, I had days that I cried as I could not fix certain bugs, but you'd easily get over it the moment you get your problems fixed. It's just a temporary problem where you're so frustrated, your code isn't working, nothing is working, you're searching Google for answers and you don't see any. But the moment you fix the problem, everything is well with the world again. Most information would be shared on the LMS, but in the case where you would um need something extra, there is actually a Slack channel for the mobile track. Just browse through the channels on Slack, you would see a channel for mobile. Okay, so I think we have covered most of the questions in the comments. I am available on Slack. I am also, well, I'm also available on the LMS, but I'm available on Slack. If you do have any questions, the LMS too is there for discussions. So at any point in time, if you have a question outside this office hour, do please reach out. I'm going to wait for a couple of minutes if there are more questions. Else, we're going to close the curtains. I've not been able to join the Slack channel. Um, about that, okay, join the onboarding. Join the onboarding. Um, or just join the onboarding, and that question would possibly be covered or not, but I would not be covering that. All right. So that would be we're just going to call it a day. Thank you all so much for joining. I'm really grateful that a lot of you joined and a lot of you were active. You know how weird it would have been if it was just me talking and no one was no one was having this chat with me, even though it's not vocal, but seeing you leave comments, it's really great that we had this session. So we're going to have a next office hour, I think tomorrow, or is it? But do check your calendar for when the next office hour would be, and then we'll do this again. Maybe then you'd have more questions and I'll be ready to answer them as well. Thank you all so much. Yeah, thank you all so much. Do have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.